In 2018, a podcast rose from the depths of hell to bring you schlock from beyond the grave. After 4 weeks of bodies, blood, and boobs, the end has come. Will you survive Golan-Globus Theater, the final chapter?
Ooh!
I like the sound of that.
We needed a werewolf in there. Maybe a thunderbolt. Can you do a good thunderbolt? Anyone?
No. That's
Ka-chow! That's it. That's a thunderbolt.
If you want a werewolf, I got a dirty mop head in the back of my car that we can use to gently drape over it. And
Who's
stop
going to
it.
be putting that stuff near my junk? Because I want that to be like perfectly scale replica. Oh, man. We're having a lot of fun
I'm
here.
so fucking excited.
So
Grant.
excited.
It's fucking Halloween finally here. I just burnt down 3 buildings on my way here.
Devil's Night.
I'm ready to fucking roll.
What is pre-Devil's Night called? Pro-Satanist Night. Because we're just the embodiment of Satan.
You just pregame super hard for Devil's Night, man.
Pre-game?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
I'm just drinking coffee. This is sober episode number 2 for me.
Wow.
I was not drinking last
here's
episode,
your coin.
and
Here's your coin I'm going to give you for your
yeah,
2 episodes sober.
two episodes sober, Griff. So you know it's gonna be asinine. I mean,
I'm proud of your accomplishment, Griff.
thanks. I'm not trying to. It's just it's too early, and I got to
You might
run.
be shaking from the DTs, but I'm interested in what made you shake in fear as a child. I want to know. We're talking about all these great movies. What movie or TV show really scared the shit out of you as a kid? The stupider and lamer, the better, please.
Oh my god. So many things terrified me as a kid. I mean, Powerline scared me for a little while there. What else scared me? Are You Afraid of the Dark? I couldn't even get past the opening credits for that show. Just like the lights going out and then the little match that they held up scared me. Goosebumps scared me. Rough Paper. Didn't like seriously, I would ask, do you remember Miss Malenfant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd ask her to turn the page for me because I didn't like the texture. I was afraid.
But then you love those rough corduroy pants. You got over it.
I got over
Right.
it. I got over a lot of
See,
things.
that's
I
good.
grew a lot as a human and as a child. I got my ear pierced, and I was like, yeah, I can flip this page myself.
Is that it? That gave you the power?
That actually did. That gave me a lot of confidence.
When you became Hoops,
Then I
you
became
a whole new man.
I became Hoops at age 8, and yeah, I just started turning things around. But mostly, Are You Afraid of the
So
Dark?
you didn't even get into. Well, you're not a horror guy, but you didn't. Are You Afraid of the Dark just scared you off of the horror genre totally?
I came back for like Friday the 13th when I got
I'm
older.
shocked because like you have an older brother. It's usually an older brother's job to like torment his younger brother. So I figured he would make you watch something scary.
That torment came in the form of
What's the age difference between you and your brother?
3 years.
Okay.
And that torment just came in the form of like sports, him being overtly aggressive.
Okay.
So pretty normal stuff. It wasn't anything like with watching, spooky stuff. That was
See,
my
I had older sisters, so it was more mental torture.
yeah. Like Friday the 13th, I eventually got into in my teen years, and that shit scared the hell out of me too. Like I was one of those people who couldn't fall asleep after watching like 45 minutes of one. So
Well, for me, I want to go on record as saying the TV movies of the 70s are way scarier than the fucking PG-13 shit they're putting out now. All right? So you had the fucking vampire kid from Salem's Lot.
oh yeah,
Scary.
dude, that was
You had fucking that voodoo doll from Trilogy of Terror.
Oh yeah, the
I don't know this
the
one.
fertility doll.
Yeah, it was a little like doll thing and attacked this one, held a knife, and he was
It's
that scared me as a kid.
It sounds
But
spooky.
the one thing I was thinking, what was like the lamest thing that scared me as a kid, and I was reminded, that Me TV channel, they show all the old.
TV.
Yeah.
Well, they're showing Buck Rogers.
Okay.
There was this episode. It must have been the Halloween episode of Buck Rogers. It was a Dracula episode, but it was space vampires, which probably is the reason why I love space vampires so much now.
That makes sense.
But the guy, he was like a Nosferatu vampire. And he would much like in Life Force, great episode, the space vampire he'd go like this, like the devil horn deal
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
and
okay.
he would put it on your neck and he would take your life force out. And he did it to the female lead of the show. And then Buck Rogers had to say, but man, he creeped me out. He was he looked like Nosferatu, but like a space vampire Nosferatu.
All right.
Now I look at it now and go, what the fuck is wrong with you, Tim? But at the time, it scared the shit out of me.
Okay. Mike?
I got two, a TV show and a movie. The TV show, back in the day, it was probably like Channel 50 or something. But late at night in the summers, I would stay up and watch all kinds of old TV shows. My jam was Bewitched, loved Bewitched, but they would also play Twilight Zone.
Ooh, that music.
And I could never watch an episode of Twilight Zone. I saw the intro, heard the music, and I was like, no. This is going to be too much for me, man.
I feel you there.
Little did I know that it really wouldn't have been, but a lot of it probably would have just gone over my head.
Tales from the Dark Side had a real creepy intro, too.
Yeah. My brother used to not be able to watch the intro to Tales from the Crypt.
I was just going to, you're jogging my memory here.
He'd watch right before the Crypt Keeper popped out, and then he'd cover his eyes, but then he'd watch the Crypt Keeper do his funny bits. Just that one moment was too much for him. But then movie-wise, the poster, the cover art for Creepshow, I would go rent horror movies and all that stuff, and I'd be all about them. But then I'd look at the cover for Creepshow with the sweet, it's my favorite movie cover, favorite movie poster with the ticket taker on front. And I'd be like, nope, that's going to be too scary for me. And I didn't see that until I was an adult, because I just, every time I'd be like,
you got to keep that alive.
I hyped myself up so much about this movie. I'm like, it's going to be the scariest thing I've ever seen. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And then I was like, I'm going to watch Creepshow. And it was awesome. Nice. Not scary, but awesome.
And there's somebody right now going, I watched Cannibal Holocaust when I was 5. You fucking pussies.
Right. For sure. There's always a tough guy out there who wants to show off. But you know what? We got an awesome movie ahead of us here.
Yeah, we do.
I loved it because it's the only movie out of our 4 that we watched that admits it's a comedy.
Yep.
Right.
Here's the thing. I mean, maybe me and Mike can go back. 'Cause Mike, you would say you're a fan of horror comedy, wouldn't you?
Yes.
And I would say I hate horror comedy. But there are very few exceptions, and this is one of them. And this is my take on it. This is why I hate horror comedy. Because, first of all, they're polar opposites.
Yeah. The
feelings you're trying to get, like horror is about creating tension. Humor is about releasing tension.
Yeah.
So I can deal with it. That's why I like this movie, because there's still horrifying shit in it. So it's still you're like, did he skin the guy? I don't like it when there's no stakes involved. Even the hero's not scared, or whatever. The final girl, whatever. That's what I don't like. So that's my beef.
Yeah, this movie does such a good job of, you have this psychotic family, and they're providing most of the comedy. But at the same time, it's like they're over the top, but they're
creepy.
They're so creepy and almost believable.
Yeah, because it's that thing where you watch horror comedies and you're like, oh, I'd love to hang out with the guys from What We Do in the Shadows. That'd be great, right?
Yeah,
they're entertaining and you'd want to hang out with them. You're laughing at Chop Top and Leatherface and Drayton Sawyer. You do not want to hang out with them.
No,
you're like, oh man, these guys are hysterical. Keep them far away from me.
And every character in this movie takes that approach, aside from the cowboy, a.k.a. Lefty, who I thought were two different people.
Yeah, I'm glad I straightened that out before we got here.
Well, we would have figured it out pretty quickly.
I would say this is I was talking to Griff before we start taping. This is my second favorite Dennis Hopper performance of all time.
What would the first be?
Frank Booth from
Blue Velvet.
Okay.
So good.
I mean, that, and get back to the last time you were here, Frank Booth is 100 times more scarier than Hannibal fucking Lecter.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
There are people like Frank Booth in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yeah. How many genius cannibals are there? I mean, 2 or 3.
Right.
At least 3.
I mean, I know one, but they're hard to find. But
okay.
Crazy ass fucking laughing gas addicted, an unironic Pabst Blue Ribbon drinking psychopaths.
Dude.
They're everywhere.
That Pabst Blue Ribbon scene, one of the greatest things ever. I don't remember it, so we're going to move on from that part. But
we're going to get into the movie. Of course, we're talking about is Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, Tobe Hooper's classic for Golan-Globus Theater and Golan-Globus Productions. So let's just get into it, Griff. What is it, Griff? Is it the podcast or is it the Saw?
Oh, the podcast.
Right choice.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast is family.
So let's listen to it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2.
13 years ago, audiences across America were horrified by the savagery of a faceless killer. In the wake of this bizarre rampage, he vanished. Now, after more than a decade of silence, he has come out of hiding. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The Buzz is back. Directed by Toby Hooper.
On the afternoon of August 18th, 1973, 5 young people in a Volkswagen van ran out of gas on a farm road in South Texas. 4 of them were never seen again. The next morning, the one survivor, Sally Hardesty Enright, was picked up on a roadside, blood-caked and screaming murder. Sally said she had broken out of a window in hell. The girl babbled a mad tale, a cannibal family in an isolated farmhouse, chainsawed fingers and bones, her brother, her friends, hacked up for barbecue, chairs made of human skeletons. Then she sank into catatonia. Texas lawmen mounted a month-long manhunt but could not locate the macabre farmhouse. They could find no killers and no victims, no facts, no crime. Officially on the record, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre never happened. But during the last 13 years, over and over again, reports of bizarre, grisly chainsaw mass murders have persisted all across the state of Texas. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has not stopped. It haunts Texas. It seems to have no end.
Damn. Big question here.
Yeah.
The first movie is based on real events.
You know what? That's what
No.
that's what we all thought. That was the thing when you
back
were like,
in the day.
We need to clear
you were
the
like
air on
everyone
that
was
one.
like, this is based. This happened for
Mike.
real.
Reach down to your left. Grab that. Throw it on the fridge. All right. Oh, my God. Good throw. So, kind of based on a real story?
Well,
where do we follow
loosely
this?
based on Ed Gein, just the Leatherface type
Okay.
stuff. But
And then
but that was always the rumor. Like when you before you'd seen it, you're like, that was based on real shit.
Because the crawl there, was that about any? Was is that supposed to be about any real events, or is that
No,
just
they're
No,
trying to
about the
make
first
you.
movie.
They're trying to make you think. 'Cause they did it in the first movie too. They're trying to make you think it really happened.
Gotcha.
So.
Cool. Because I couldn't imagine that really happened, but we're clearing the air for everybody else and myself.
Yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is fiction. It did not happen.
So, guys, the big question here in the opening scene: how do we feel about these frat boys? Do you like the yellow sweater? Do you like the
Hologram glasses.
hologram glasses?
No, I couldn't wait for them to
No.
be murdered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I
Did you find something redeeming about them?
Well, I just enjoy watching these guys just living out their Second Amendment freedoms. They're just driving along Texas, having a good old time, shooting all the signs, That's a good time right there.
Yeah, the shoot. You notice, and this is back to foreshadows. They shoot a sign that says Texas Battleland Amusement Park, and that's going to come into play later on in the movie.
Good call. I was wondering why I was noticing all these signs. Canon knows what they're doing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, Toby Hoops, he directed.
Yes, he directed.
Yeah.
Came back. I heard, I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to say it's true because I feel like it, that the only reason he agreed to do this was so he could get to do Life Force, which is underrated movie, underrated episode, by the way.
Well, I heard that he only directed this one because Golan-Globus kept shifting the budget for this movie as it was going on.
Well, it
Oh,
showed.
Based on how other movies of theirs were doing. And so Toby realized he wouldn't be able to afford a decent director for it, so he just did it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I want to
Because
point
Life Force
out-
came out before this.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
I want to point out, I love this fucking movie. It's in my top 10, top 20 horror movies of all time.
It's a fun movie.
But, oh my God, that fucking synth soundtrack was really getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
It was really cheap sounding.
Well,
It's what it reminded me of. Was it Full Moon Productions that always has those fucking cheap
God.
synth like soundtracks?
I'm going to go on the record right now. Full Moon Productions can bite my ass.
Yeah, well, don't worry, we're never covering.
Dude,
This isn't Full Moon
like,
Theater.
The first Puppet Master is okay, but the 73 after that and the evil bong shit, no.
No, boy.
I have no time for
We're
any
in
of
all
that.
agreement. It sucked. But yeah, I was like, oh, I don't like this
So
synth.
our boys are just driving down the road, causing all kinds of very clean boys will be boys type fun.
Boys will be boys.
Hijinks.
Okay, they're just
Well, they're driving to the Oklahoma Texas football game.
yes, and they're chiming in on the radio, and they hear Stretch, who happens to be a character we're going to see quite a bit in this
She's
movie.
our heroine of the movie.
Played
And
by Caroline Williams, who later pops up in Hatchet 3 and Leprechaun 3, the best of the Leprechaun movies.
oh shit, it would have been interesting if this was Texas Chainsaw 3, just so she was always in the third.
She was in
installments.
Texas Chainsaw 3 as well.
She was?
She had an uncredited cameo as her news reporter.
Oh,
As Stretch.
Well, that's the thing,
Oh.
because we learn
yeah.
she's starting out as a DJ for Headbangers, as she says.
Yeah.
But she has aspirations, and
I-
she wants to be like a journalist. I'm glad to know that she became a journalist.
Yep.
She
That's-
didn't go crazy then.
Yeah.
We'll do that later. But
No one ever goes crazy in these situations.
well, I think I would have lost my shit if I had to deal with what she deals with.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
no, absolutely. You would expect
But
that.
maybe I would come down and then I'd become a newscaster. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also want to point out, I think this is the last good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. I think the first two are the only ones that are worth watching.
I mean,
Don't even say that Matthew McConaughey won. Don't you dare.
It's not as bad as people make it out.
Oh, boy.
All right?
There's a hot
Okay.
take for you.
So getting back to these asshole frat boys. So they're calling in, they're fucking prank calling. This is before caller ID.
Yeah.
You got the big ass brick car phone.
Before caller ID and before you can just hang up from one side of the call.
Right. So they're just like fucking with her, and she's like, "Hey, I got a fucking job to do, you assholes." And
Yeah.
they're like, "We don't care. We're partying. Woo!"
So, they get LGs pulling plugs. They don't know what they're doing, but
Yeah,
they eventually.
LG, he's the producer of the show.
Yeah.
And I want to point out that because, Golan-Globus is very economical. They got 90 minutes. They have to in and out. They don't have time for character development. So what they do, the little trick they do, they just give somebody an adorable, like, tick they have. LG's, he's hocking loogies. He's hocking
Yeah.
loogies everywhere.
In the studio.
Yeah.
Wherever he's just, like, that's his thing. So he's lovable.
At least
and disgusting.
At least it wasn't like chew spits.
Yeah,
'cause-
I don't know. I think that maybe would be better. I think.
no, absolutely
Snot,
not.
Yeah.
Knocking snot on
Snot
the
or
shit?
tobacco.
I don't
No.
know. It's rough.
I was able to get by it, like just whatever about it, but no,
Which would you rather have someone spit on you? Tobacco juice or snot?
probably snot.
I'd go tobacco
I'd go
juice.
tobacco juice too.
You guys are fucking crazy. I don't. Just seriously, if you've ever had to sit next to somebody who's sitting there fucking spitting out
I
chew,
had a friend from Texas, by the way. who chewed tobacco.
I'm just kind of a germaphobe, so like I don't want snot. What if they're
Snot is
sick?
just-
You know, like.
I don't know. Fuck.
I mean, either way, I'm not happy.
well, yeah, that's not the nature of the question, though. It's
The lesser two evils.
exactly. So
So
they
they're
get 'em
tying
all-
up the line. She's just trying to do her fucking show.
Yeah.
And these shitbirds are like, we want to hear bright lights, big titties. Ah!
Now I want to see bright lights, big titties.
That was more annoying than their outfits. All I'm saying.
And
No,
so,
their outfits were annoying. They were just straight up annoying.
so you can tell this is the 80s because, like, in the 70s, we were at least trying. We had to be like, they wanted us to be sympathetic with the victims. The 80s is like, no, you want to see these people die. So we're all in agreement. We
Comedy
want
horror.
these guys to die.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, they got to build it up. Like, hey, maybe this crazy truck is actually full of kind of cool guys. So eventually, what they're gonna do is play chicken with the wrong family.
Right.
Well, just as a little sidebar, before they hop up, they get tangled with the pickup truck. They play Goo Goo Muck by the Cramps.
Yes.
And I just, anytime a movie has the Cramps in it, I like to mention it and award it bonus points.
That is
Well, I'd rather have listened to that than the synth soundtrack.
Yes.
If I could have played Cramps. That would have been better.
Oh, for sure. That I'm glad you pointed that out because that is a huge plus. I can't imagine a radio station in Texas ever plays the Cramps.
Well,
Right.
This is the cool one for headbangers, bro.
Exactly.
They would see Lux Interior writhing around in his Speedo and high heels, and they'd be like, what in the hell did we bring into our bar?
LG would have, Stretch wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Stretch was evolved.
So again, pissed off the wrong truck.
Yeah,
and they're
play
gonna
chicken. They run off this old car. I think it even has that ooga horn.
The
noise.
truck did, yeah.
And they drive, and then the truck starts following them. And it's got an American flag, so they're proud Americans. And they follow them onto the world's longest bridge.
Dude, the truck pulls a perfect Jason. It just appears on the bridge because they were going opposite directions.
I think they're in Key West because the bridge had to be like 10 miles fucking long.
It was long as fuck.
Because the scene took about 5 minutes and
Yeah.
it's still on a bridge. So so then they start playing chicken with the frat boys, but they didn't realize they got Leatherface, and he hops up from the flatbed with a desiccated corpse attached to his body.
The
Yeah.
hitchhiker from the first movie.
Right.
Whoa, really?
Their
Okay.
brother. They kept
Okay.
him- they kept his body.
Nice. Oh, is that Lefty's brother?
No.
Okay.
Lefty's brother was in the wheelchair.
Okay.
I thought that was supposed to be his niece and nephew.
That's what I thought too. But then he says brother. He said they say in the beginning it's your brother's kids, and then
Yeah.
when he sees the body, he goes brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Unless he's talking about his brother.
Yeah.
I don't know.
fuck.
And we're getting ahead of ourselves. So then fucking Leatherface just starts sawing the fuck out of this car. I think they had like a ragtop type car because he was cutting right through it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh shit!" And the guy can't. The guy with a gun, he He thinks he's shooting Leatherface in the face, but he's shooting the hitchhiker in the face.
Yeah.
Right? So then it reveals it's Leatherface, and we're like, "All right, Leatherface." And Leatherface just totally. Meanwhile, they're on the line with Stretch.
They got
they're
back
fucking with
on
her. So
the
Stretch
line,
is hearing
yeah.
all this shit, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
But of course, she's recording it, and that
Yeah.
won't come up later. That's not any kind of foreshadow.
So the guy gets the dude with the Bill Cosby sweater gets half of his head sliced right off, and
Cool looking death.
blood splurting everywhere, and they crash. They go off the bridge and crash. And the bridge was like literally when they showed him cleaning it up, the bridge is like a block long, if
Right.
that. It's like an overpass. And
It was,
they
yeah.
were driving on it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, because the whole time they're doing reverse, and they're just like, "Oh, how do we outdrive this guy? He's going in reverse. That's like 10 miles an hour, easy." So, Mike, you want to take us to the investigation the next morning?
Which has one of my favorite lines of the movie. So there's the wreckage there. There's a bunch of police on the scene. I don't know if they're trying to get a body out of the car or what they're trying
Jaws
to
of
do.
life, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to just get the car moved. But we got our hero, question mark, Cowboy Lefty is hanging out.
Texas
and,
Ranger.
And then more police show up, and one of them starts to do the whole, "Oh, nope, you got to get out of here, man. This is a crime scene."
Pulling rank.
Yep, trying to get him out of here. And then the fresh-faced young guy that has a cushy desk job clearly gets out. He's like, "Oh, no, you can stay. And they have a little to-do, him and Lefty, like, "Hey, man, nothing crazy's going on. Some shit went down in Texas like over a decade ago. You got the wrong people. These people are just here. Boys will be boys, having a good time for the football game."
And this is where we learn that Lefty has a connection to the people from the first movie.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
He's just obsessed with vengeance to catch these people. He killed his niece and nephew or brother and sister. We don't know.
Maybe all of them.
But he's just like, he's been traveling the past 13 years. That's all he's been doing. He's
That's
quit
it.
his job. He's kept the fucking cowboy outfit.
He only has that one outfit.
Yes. Well, the
Yeah.
movie only takes place in like 2 days or something like that. So
That's
it could
true,
be.
but he still only has that one outfit.
Well, it's
I mean,
cool.
we can all agree.
It's a cool outfit.
He's got a good hat, good outfit.
That he does.
And so he's got to find, he's got to find some kind of connection. Someone's got to know something about this accident. And what does he go on the news or something? Or
Well, no,
Lefty
no.
catches him on-
Before that, the guy in charge tells him, "Look, man, I got my orders to, I got the authority to kick you out of town and get you on the next flight if you start messing around with stuff." And Dennis Hopper just goes to his car, sits down, and he goes, "Go ahead. I'd like to see that authority. And just stares at him like, you ain't got shit, son.
Pops a cigarette in his
Classic Dennis
mouth.
Hopper move.
So good.
So yeah, I think the cops put it on the media.
Yeah.
And then so like Stretch, she just so happens to be covering a chili cook-off at a hotel that Lefty happens to be staying at.
Yes. Very convenient.
So
That's how you write a movie
so
right
she's
there.
multitasking. She's like, I'm going to cover this, but first I'm going to go talk to Lefty, who at the beginning of we see him, he wants all the help he can get, and now he doesn't want help for some reason.
That was the weirdest thing. She's like, I've got evidence of them, getting run off the road and everything. It's pretty chilling stuff. And he's just like, lady, I got no time for your tapes and whatever else you got on you.
Right, so he just shoos her off. So she's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just cover that chili contest.
I don't know, Millie. I don't know if I'm just giving the movie too much credit, but I think he was intentionally playing hard to get.
Okay.
Well, we do learn he's playing the most biggest cat and mouse game of all time. He could play in the long game.
This is true. I didn't think about it in the long game here because once they get to that chili cook-off, I was just like, what is this man's recipe? Because the
secret
it's
is meat and lots of it.
Texas people like to meat.
That's prime meat.
So this is where for second year in the row, Drayton Sawyer, the cook, as he's known in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Same actor.
He was in the first one, too?
Only one returning.
What I don't get is he one of the brothers or is he the dad?
I don't know.
Because he's old as shit, so I don't know. I always assumed he was a brother, but I don't know.
I mean, he could be the older brother.
But he's very much about entrepreneurialism. He's about small business ownership.
Oh, yeah, big time.
And
he's got a few monologues about that.
And he's about chili, man, and he makes the best chili in Texas.
I love that trophy they have, too.
It's shaped like the state of Texas.
You got that. It's got that shape of Texas, but then it's got that kettle right at the top that they pour the chili into and let it flow over.
There's a tooth in it.
Yeah, the one.
The peppercorn.
Oh, that's just a hard peppercorn shell. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Ladies and
just
gentlemen, we just
happened?
learned we got a new accent. This is the Cajun griff.
This here's the Cajun Grieve.
We're in Texas, so he didn't have it.
Well, I believe he got his inspiration from Cajun land.
So.
Oh, boy. Your accent.
South of the Mississippi.
Well, I'm glad that you have more than Chicago now.
Don't worry. I'll try it again later, and I'll turn right into
we got an idea cooking for that. But anyway, so then this is one of my
chili
favorites.
cooking.
This is my favorite scene in the movie. Gearing up, buying some chainsaws.
Dude.
Oh, my God. This
I
is
love
such a great
the
scene.
so much. I love my favorite performance in this movie is Chop Top, Bill Moseley, super underrated actor. Second favorite, Dennis Hopper. Third favorite, owner of the chainsaw shop.
Dude, so good. Everything about this scene is so good.
So Lefty shows up, and this store only sells chainsaws, by the way.
That's it. Just chainsaws on racks, on shelves.
See, he pulls out like $1,000 in $100 bills and just lays it out on the table.
Spreads it out, fans it out, so the guy knows he's not about to rip him off.
Serious business. And then he grabs the biggest fucking chainsaw and the 2 mini chainsaws.
And he's
That's right.
It's like a
versatility.
Yeah, it's like a baseball player grabbing a couple bats, taking a couple swings.
Right. Well, that's the thing. The guy goes, he takes the money. He's like, well, try them out. There's a log out there you can try. And then, Lefty starts up the chainsaw and starts hacking and slashing the shit.
Never used a chainsaw in his life.
Well, this isn't the proper way to use a chainsaw.
No, not at all.
But did the owner have an orgasm while he was watching that?
He was.
I couldn't tell if he was
so excited.
I couldn't tell if he was horrified or just getting off on it.
I think we saw a visceral change in the man because at first he's confused, like, what in the hell's this boy? Oh my!
I mean, if you've
Oh,
seen,
look at that lack of technique! Oh, so strong.
That lack of technique.
It's technique if you're fighting somebody.
It's
Right.
true. I mean, if you want a comparison, just think of the scene from No Country for Old Men where he shows up to the shopkeep in the middle of nowhere and he's just freaking him the hell out. That's basically this old guy, but he turns it from like fear
He makes
to.
a lemonade out of lemons.
Dude, he
Jesus
was
Christ.
loving it. That was, I hear that was Shade's distant uncle who lived in the South.
He was
'Cause
so into Dennis
He had that
Hopper's
same
chainsaw
enthusiasm.
action.
We all were. It was great.
It was so good. So the movie ends right there. We just get another 5 minutes of and Dennis Hopper loving. Just
No, you're wrong.
What?
There's more.
I stopped it right there.
Well, that's a good thing me and Mike watched some of it. Mike watched some of it. I watched it all.
Okay.
I can carry us.
No, I saw it all.
He got through
In,
it
I
in bits
finished
and
it.
pieces.
in five segments.
Don't worry, because I almost didn't watch it either. I was busy too.
Oh no, I mean I've seen this movie countless
Well, so
times.
did I.
but-
I just needed the order. So we go back to the radio station. Stretch decided she's gonna listen to Lefty, and she's gonna play the tape every hour on the hour to try
Yeah.
to lure out these killers.
He really forces it on her. He does. It's
Well,
like
no,
he-
she's like we learned, and I'm happy it worked out for her. She's got aspirations. She wants to be like a serious journalist.
Yeah.
And she's like, this can be my big break. I don't have to be fucking slinging them rock and roll songs to them headbangers anymore.
Yeah.
As she says. So she starts playing it, and then LG's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna go get us some coffee or some shit." So he takes off, and then we get introduced to, as I said a couple weeks ago, one of the most underrated, creepiest characters of all time, Chop Top.
Chop Top.
Anybody want to take it away from me?
Mike, I think you should.
So she's Stretch is alone in the radio station, and she starts hearing some noise, and she's waiting on Lefty to show up. So she keeps calling like, "Oh, Lefty, where is that? You, Lefty?" And then she's kind of walking around, and then she stumbles upon Chop Top wearing his beloved Sonny Bono wig, and she's freaked out because, I mean, if you've seen the movie, you know that Chop Top does not look like a normal dude.
Oh yeah.
And so they have an awkward back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a big fan. I don't like to call in a request, though. It seems so, I forget.
Iron Butterfly.
Yeah. Play that Inavita de Gata or whatever. Man, that's heavy."
Yep.
But,
Well, while he's doing that, he's also has the fucking gross thing. He's got a coat hanger,
It's
and he's like heating up the end that hangs on the rack. And then he's
Yeah.
scratching his scalp with it, and
Yeah.
like ripping off skin and eating it.
ugh.
We haven't had like a character that was really all that. It's for the creepiest of reasons, but this is a movie where you're like, what is he fucking doing? Like, there's so much you want to know, and they reveal it pretty soon here. But he's like, I can't leave until I get a tour, and so she's like, oh yeah, she's just going over the desk stuff. She's like, this is Mr. Dolphin, this is Mr. Lamp, and that's Mr. Exit Sign. Go ahead and leave now.
Right? Then this I think one of the most tense scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Because the mood immediately changes. Because you're laughing at Chop Top.
Yeah, you're
this entire
uncomfortably
time.
laughing, or at
And
least
then-
I was.
And she's like, "All right, goodbye." And then he stops. He stops doing the Chop Top shtick. And
Yeah.
he just goes,
All right.
"Goodbye."
Goodbye.
And just stands there and looks at her. And she's like, "Goodbye." And he goes, "Goodbye."
Oh.
And they just do that back and forth for a hot
then
minute.
he goes, "You play that one song you played earlier, that
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Holy shit!" Then it clicks for her.
Yeah.
She's
Yep.
like, "This is the killer." And then, just out of the blue, I loved how Leatherface had his chainsaw on silent mode.
Yeah.
You know, you can get
He had
that.
a-
You
he
got to
had-
pay a little more.
He had a silencer on it.
but so
All- anyone who thinks they're stealing Merman Productions' idea, we already hit the market on chainsaw silencers. It's going to be out in a few
he
weeks here.
turns it off, and he just comes barreling out. Like you're like all tense because you're like waiting for Chop Top to do some shit.
Yeah.
And then Leatherface just comes hauling ass out of this room.
Yeah.
Accidentally hits Chop Top, fucks up his Sonny Bono wig.
Oh, fucking Bubba.
You gotta get me a new plate cover. I gotta go back to the VA hospital with a dent in my head.
Fortunately,
Oh.
Chop Top had a plate in his head, so he didn't get the chainsaw didn't go through his skull. But that's why we learn Chop Top has been scraping the skin off his plate.
Oh, my
eating
God.
it.
It's
Yeah.
so fucking gross.
So naturally, Stretch freaks the fuck out and runs back up into like the radio booth. Leatherface chasing her. He's like, "Go get that bitch, Leatherface!
Yeah.
Dog will hunt.
Dog will hunt.
Will hunt.
So Stretch finds herself in. They have a nice refrigerated section with a big steel door in this studio.
Yeah, I don't know.
that.
All right. So, sidebar here, and I'm not going to take up too much time. We're going to get this done in under 7.5 hours.
Good goal.
This scene is one of my favorites just because of nostalgia reasons. My favorite movie of all time is The Burbs, and there's a scene where Tom Hanks is clicking through horror movies, and then he falls asleep. They show a scene from The Exorcist, Race with the Devil, which is a great movie, and this movie.
Okay.
And this particular scene from this movie. So this scene always warms my heart because it reminds me of The Burbs.
I like it. That's pretty great. But here's the thing to keep in mind. Usually when you have a refrigerated section, it's an enclosure. It's a full room, 4 walls. They didn't quite do that.
It wasn't technically.
No, it wasn't. But
they had a cooler full of ice with pop and beer in it.
What was it? It has a giant steel reinforced door,
like a sliding door.
Yeah.
with a little rail spike to lock it from the inside.
Yep.
What was this?
No
Why?
idea.
I don't know. They
But-
just needed for a reason for her to get away. So
yeah.
Leatherface is a slash in the door with a chainsaw, and then it conks out.
Yeah, it finally conks out, and I think this is where
This is where LG comes back.
LG finally pops in, and he's whistling. He's got a bag full of
Hawkins
fries,
snot all on the floor.
just looking everywhere.
Yeah, well, LG notices something is amiss straight away because he notices that other vehicle
The
there.
truck, yeah.
And he's just like, what the hell? And then he goes in and he's like, hey, Stretch, you know this door's unlocked? And he knows something's up. He doesn't know what, though.
Yeah.
And then then he sees Chop Top, the original hipster, going through all the vinyl.
Yep.
And then he's like, "Oh, lick my plate, you dog dick!"
One of the best lines of the movie.
I had
Yeah.
Bill Moseley sign it like my plate, you dog dick, when I got an autograph from him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
But so while LG's distracted, Leatherface bursts out again. He got silence remote back on.
Silence.
He busts out, and I think he just knocks fucking LG off the staircase or something.
Yeah, he just kind of like thrusts him down the staircase because it's Chop Top.
Yeah, I don't know if his saw was working at this point.
It
I
might
think he
not.
just knocks him over.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he knocks him over, and then to steal a song title from Cannibal Corpse, Hammer Smash Face, because Chop Top starts slamming the shit out of LG's face with a hammer.
Yeah.
And just yelling random shit like, here comes the mail, and like,
Yeah.
Ho Chi Minh, and all this random Vietnam-related
He's
stuff.
got some PTSD going.
Right.
Dude, it's so uncomfortable. This movie has such a better feeling than all the other movies we watch.
Right.
For just topping it.
So
This
he's
is-
just beating the shit out of LG. LG's flopping around like a fish out of water.
yeah, and a good practical effect too.
And he's like,
It's
God damn it, go
gruesome.
get that bitch, Leatherface. The Leatherface goes back, starts.
Oh, this part cracks me up. Like, I'm in hysterics, literally laughing out loud every time I see this.
Oh boy,
Because he gets the saw started, and then he immediately just perks up, like, all right, runs up the stairs, goes back to the door, raises the saw over his head, making this weird, like, ah noise, and shaking his head back and forth like he's doing some little dance.
yes.
And it cracks me up every time I see it.
Everybody-
Leatherface is kind of lovable in this movie.
Yeah.
For a cannibal.
Oh, there's another scene with Leatherface that just has me in stitches every time I see it, but that's later in the
Well,
movie.
he gives up on the door, and he just Kool-Aid Mans the wall.
He Kool-Aid Man's the shit out of that wall.
He's like, oh, yeah! Free, and then he pins, corners Stretch, and the Stretch is like, she's reading the situation. She goes, this guy's an incel. I
Yeah.
know what to do.
Yep.
And she's just talking him up, like, oh, man, you know how to use that saw?
Yeah.
She's like sitting on that bucket of ice with the beer and sodas, spread eagle,
Got the
wearing
Daisy
her
Dukes
Daisy
on.
Dukes on.
Yeah.
And he's like thrusting the saw blade into the ice that's in between her legs.
Yes.
And it's
Oh.
this so...
It's very Freudian right here. Like, this.
Yeah. He's got the chainsaw running. It's like spraying
Yeah.
beer and pop
Yeah.
all over her.
And then he turns it off, and then she starts trying to work on hey, oh man, you're so great, you're so big,
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff.
You know how to use that thing? How good are you?
and this is basically what we're witnessing, guys, is that we're witnessing Leatherface blossoming into a man. He's going from a boy into a man.
yeah.
And so he's finally getting in touch with his sexuality. And it's a beautiful thing if you think about it. If you take the
It's
cannibal shit out of it and a guy hitting a guy with a hammer downstairs.
Good point. Good point.
It's pretty adorable.
Right. It's a beautiful moment.
Okay. This is the coming of age Leatherface story.
Right.
Except he doesn't know how to work it because I don't want to step on anybody's toes because to get into the visceral nitty gritty of it, he's like gyrating his hips, but then like rubbing her leg.
Yeah.
And he's like, and she's like,
yeah.
You're like, you're so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's inexperienced. This is the first time.
Ugh. So
he fucking comes, right? He like
absolutely.
he just starts shuddering, and then he turns his chainsaw back on and just runs out.
He just runs.
He's embarrassed. It only lasted like 5 seconds. He did a Reb Brown.
He revved it up. Oh man! So he comes flying down the staircase. He's all fired up, and Chop Top's still down there, just
Chop Top's thinking he's fired up. He killed her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's still beating the head of LG, and they're like, "Did you get him, Bubba?" So they feel like, yeah, good job here. They grab LG and they head out the door.
LG, so
a lot of meat on him. He already looks like he's a dinner table. He's got that red and white checkered shirt on. He looks right. He's prepared.
He's a fashion icon.
Yeah, for sure. So he gives out one last loogie to let us know he's still alive, but he gets dragged down.
A lot of blood in it, but still, it's a loogie.
Yeah, he gets dragged down the stairs. And for cannibals, you think they would be like, well, let's get her body too, but whatever. They take LG.
She didn't have a lot of meat on.
Yeah, not a lot of meat.
It's a good point. She didn't. No. So they get LG in the truck and they take off. Lefty Stretch for whatever reason.
Well, she's just like, Lefty, where the fuck are you? You're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So she's like, I can't wait. I got to follow these guys. They're going to get away.
Yep.
So she gets in her Jeep and starts following them.
101.
That's right.
So this is where the beginning of the movie comes into play. He follows them to the Texas Battleland, which is this abandoned amusement park. It looks pretty cool. I would have enjoyed.
Dude, it's creepy and disorienting. It's perfectly unsettling.
Yeah,
like this movie.
What kind of amusement park has like tunnels, underground tunnels, and all this weird shit?
All the weird lighting.
But maybe that's why they closed, because it was like disturbing.
For sure, but that's also probably just because it's the 70s and they don't give a or 80s and regulations.
So she follows them and she sees they go into this tunnel and they go down into the bowels of hell, basically.
Yeah.
And then another car shows up. It's Lefty in a station wagon.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what kind of badass is driving a station wagon?
Right. But, like, the thing is,
it's practical. Come on.
He's, like, chasing her down in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And she's freaking out. And instead of rolling down the window and being like, hey, Stretch, it's me, Lefty, he just keeps her running in terror.
He's in cat and mouse mode, all right? So
he really is.
This is his appetizer. Right. He's playing with his food.
I was kind of confusing you for that choppy dome guy I noticed come out of the record studio.
So she stops in front of his car. She's like, hey, it's me. Unfortunately, she happened to be standing on top of a trap door.
Of course.
I don't know why this music park has trap doors, but it does. Maybe the Sawyer brothers put it in later.
For sure.
So it opens, and she's like hanging, because there's like tree roots or some shit hanging from it. So she's hanging. And then LG's like, here's a desiccated arm.
Where does he pull that arm from?
Well, it's just laying around. He could have, if he needed something, he could have used his big-ass fucking chainsaw. So here, grab this. He's like, here, have this rotting hand. So, of course, she grabs it, and it falls off, and she goes down this tunnel.
Yep.
And goes right into the bowels of hell.
And the whole family's down there. You wanna tell us about the bowels?
Well, there's one part I wanted to talk about, but I don't know if we're going to cycle back to it. When Lefty decides to enter the hideout. Are we going to do this first and then go back to that, or?
Oh,
well, they're kind of happening simultaneously.
Yeah. Like we follow Stretch down here, and then we get back to Lefty in a second.
Okay.
So I'll let you do that, and I'll fill us in on Stretch's situation here.
Okay, you do Stretch.
So she ends up behind like a oil barrel or something. It's like a drum.
Well, she winds up in a room that there were Leatherface butchers. So it's kind of like a smokehouse, because they got all these limbs like hanging from meat hooks.
Yeah. And they burn all that crude oil to get that nice smoky taste for their chili.
Right.
So
she's hiding. She's hiding because Leatherface shows up. So she's hiding.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know that LG is like laid out.
Yeah.
And he gets like this little mini like turkey carver type
thing. I like that.
He cuts LG's clothes off, and he starts skinning LG.
Yeah.
So he like hangs it up on a hook, and he skins LG's face.
Oh, gruesome.
And then she, of course, like dumbass, she like knocks over something.
Yeah, she knocks over a bunch of meat hooks because there's just meat hooks everywhere.
Right.
And then Leatherface, and he's like, "Oh, it's my girlfriend," because he's already like at Leatherface's mind, they're married and have 2 kids.
Oh yeah.
And she's just like, "We're just friends." And so he's like, here's another creepy fucking moment. He grabs LG's face, like the skin of his face, and puts it on Stretch's face.
Yes.
And then puts her cowboy hat.
Gets LG's hat.
Cowboy hat on top of it.
And like uses that to adhere it to her face so the face doesn't fall off.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's naturally flipping the fuck out.
Yeah.
This. And then he ties her her hands behind her
Well,
back.
you don't forget they have their first dance.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, he's a good spinner. That's all I can say.
Yep.
Right.
Like, I mean, he uses
Get
that
Leatherface
7'9"
on Dancing
frame.
with the Stars, for fuck's sake. At least I know who he is.
For real. Like, I end up having to watch that show because it's on at the gym. And I got to tell you, there's not enough Leatherface on that show. Okay?
Agreed.
You know, middle America wants a Leatherface on there. I'm sick of seeing, like, rich people on there. I want a Leatherface.
Right, yeah. So he's dancing, and then meanwhile, in the background, Chop Top and the cook are having an argument about,
Too much cumin.
property taxes. And
Oh, yeah.
kind of shit.
It was.
Chop Top is like going on about building some kind of Vietnam amusement park.
Yes, he's an entrepreneur too. He's like, dude, we could rebuild this and make it into Nomland, I think he calls it.
Yeah, Nomland.
And he's
Nomland.
like, the property taxes that cause. Like, he's always like, Cook is the one who keeps it real. He's
Yeah.
like, look, I had enough of your fucking pie in the sky dreams. All right, I'm a businessman. I
Right.
know what you need to do. And so this is unfeasible. We can't do this.
Yeah. So
And then the cook comes in like and sees Leatherface is like behind the drum like fucking with something. He's like,
Yeah.
what do you got back there, boy?
So he just holds up the face, and that's enough to distract everyone away from his little secret.
And then that's when Leatherface decides, well, I'm going to keep you as my plaything. So he ties
Yeah.
her up and leaves her in the butcher shop.
And now we need to know what's going on with our cowboy friend.
Oh boy. So Lefty, he's amping himself up, and he establishes that this is like the pit to hell, or something like that, and he's gonna bring it down on top of him, and so he amps himself up, and has the funniest and most anticlimactic charge into battle I have ever seen.
Well, first we got to point out, I fucking love this about the movie. He has fucking holsters for his mini chainsaws.
Yes, he does.
So
Yeah.
he's like
Yes,
an
he
old
does.
west like gunfighter,
Dude.
but it's chainsaws.
If you noticed when we first meet Lefty at the wreckage the next morning, you can see the chainsaw holsters in the backseat of his car. He already had
Oh,
them.
nice.
He already had them. He designed them. He probably took leatherworking up just to design those.
I like to think so.
Yeah, we need a whole new story about just Lefty. And don't worry, guys, Merman Productions already on it.
Okay. So getting back to what you were saying.
Yeah, he gets himself amped up, but the problem is he's like 100 yards away from the entrance to this thing, so he just goes like, running with the chainsaws, and then has to stop and take a breath, and then go back to going, and then as he gets to the front, he gets out one more like little, and then just kind of like casually walks into the hideout.
Yeah, and just
he goes in and starts yelling again, and there's nothing. No one can hear him. So it's just like, oh, I did all that for nothing. Okay, I guess I got to just kind of creep around here and start sawing shit down.
yeah. Instead of like the action starting kind of pretty quickly after that, no, he just chops down some random
He's on a
beams.
suicide mission. He's
Yeah.
like, nobody's getting out of here alive.
It's true.
Right? So he's just, as he's going, he's just chopping all these like beams down so the place is collapsing on itself.
Yeah.
So then we're going back to Stretch and LG.
Yeah.
And for a guy who got hit in the head with a hammer like 100 times, LG's doing pretty good.
He's doing great.
He's doing shockingly well.
Because he revives
Them
himself.
Texas boys, you know?
And he gets up, and she's like freaked out. She doesn't know who this is. And then he hocks a loogie, and she's like, LG?
LG?
Is that you? And he's like, sure is, darling.
He says darling 45 times in this scene.
And so he he frees her. You only think he's gonna stab her. He's so fucked. He's alive, but he's fucked up.
Yeah.
So his hands are shaking. He's got the giant butcher knife. And he's got to cut the rope.
They made that scene very tense, like he was gonna stab her.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He cuts the rope, and then he just collapses and goes, "Oh shit,
Darling, you gotta get out of here."
And then, as a token of her love, because this is I love this moment. She's like, "I loved you, LG." I just want him to come back to life. She's like, "Thanks for friend zoning me the whole fucking time. Thanks for telling me now." And so she lovingly puts his face back on, and puts his cowboy hat back on, and runs the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And fortunately, she's not very good at sneaking around because they're immediately onto her. She's in there's like a tunnel. She's in like a drainage tunnel type thing. And she tries to go to the other one. It's like fucking like 20 feet away, and she fucks it up. And they see her.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What the hell is that?" And then Leatherface like, "Oh," because he's like, "You don't want anyone to know he's got some shit."
Playing dumb.
It's funny because he's like, "Did you see that?" And Leatherface shakes his head no, but then Emilio shakes his head yes. Like, "Well, did you see it or didn't you?" And he's like, "No, yeah." It's just he has no idea how to answer this.
Man,
so funny.
The range on this man, greater range than Chuck or Seagal.
Yes,
combined.
Leatherface made me laugh a lot more than Chuck ever has.
Yeah, for
Chuck,
sure.
Take some fucking lessons.
Take some serious lessons. Go skin somebody's face, put it over yours, so we don't have to see that stupid beard anymore.
So I guess she gets like she's on her way, she's trying to get out, and then Leatherface got the silencer mode on.
Yep,
busts out and starts chasing her down this tunnel, and like fucking Lefty's like right down at the end, like 100 yards down.
Yeah,
but he's still wrapped up in fucking destroying shit. He doesn't see her.
And this is when
what happens is she's running out and she's about to get to a turn.
Yeah,
but then the saw flares up. She's like, "Oh shit, Leatherface is right here." And then the beam starts to come down, and she runs the other way, but it's Lefty, and she can't see him. So she runs the other way, and that's when she runs into Leatherface.
Okay.
Ooh.
And so she gets trapped by Leatherface again. So
yeah.
recapture her. And then we have a great scene where, like, "Oh, this is about sex, boy. Sex ain't nothing but a racket."
Because now it's not just Leatherface; it's his whole family.
The whole family's here, and this is where my other part that Leatherface does that kills me every time is the Drayton, the cook. He's like, "Oh, we got this lady here's about sex, blah, 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 blah." And then Chop Top just nonchalantly is like, "Oh, wait, I recognize her. She's the DJ, my favorite." And then Drayton's like, "Wait, I thought y'all killed her." And the look on they zoom in on Leatherface, and he's just like doing the whole side-eye thing, like back and forth, like, oh, no, they
so
just
good.
found out. It's so funny. It's so funny.
And then Chop Chop, of course, is...
Chop Top, who also has his dead brother's mummified body strapped to his body that we saw earlier.
Yeah, he's been running around
he's carrying nubbins around.
And he's still back in Vietnam, so he's like, "Burn her like a rat."
Bubba's got a girlfriend. Bubba's got a girlfriend.
And they're like, "Well, we're going to have her for dinner. Get Grandpa." And then they knock her out.
So she's clonked out. This is, I mean... We had the scene of Lefty. He knocked down the beam that eventually she gets trapped by because she cuts off he cuts off that one trail. So he's really close. They're like fucking right next. They would have been right next to each other if not for that random structure that he cut over. Lefty found his brother.
Well, he finds the body in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So he assumes because the brother was in a wheelchair
but
in the first movie.
That, of course, just sets him over the edge. She's so fired up.
Well, I want to point out first, getting back to the first movie, how ahead of its time it was in that usually a person in a wheelchair is a sympathetic character in a movie, and he was the biggest fucking dick in the fucking movie.
I hated what's it? Franklin. I hate him. Just the Sally all the time. Oh, Jesus.
I just watched another movie with an unsympathetic wheelchair bound character. So
X-Men.
Yeah. Wow. Mr. No Legs.
Oh, well, we'll be talking about that in another episode.
Maybe.
Oh, wasn't that good?
We'll let you decide.
Okay. So yeah, and also. I want to. It must have had some fucking Duracells in his flashlight because in the very first movie,
13 years ago,
Franklin gets killed holding a flashlight.
Oh, that's right.
And so it lasts up until just as soon as Lefty sees it. Then it goes out. So 13, that's pretty damn good.
My brother's favorite
That's some
flashlight.
Energizer shit, man.
Energizer
That
should
should
have.
be a commercial for Energizer.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They should be working on that.
And
Long
then-
after you're dead, the bunny will keep going and going.
So if he had
Long
any
live
reservations
flashlight.
now, they're gone. He's like, I'm ready to kill every motherfucker in this building.
His death wish has hit a new limit here.
So we cut back to Stretch. What's she doing? Oh, she's tied up in a chair at a dinner table.
Yeah, they got the long dinner table out. They got the fancy candles. They got the nice skin, tablecloth made from, various
Got
dead people.
Mummified bodies and chairs.
Yeah.
And we get the cook. He tells a little bit about Grandpa. He talks about the old traditionalist our Grandpa was.
Oh, yeah.
The good old days.
And
good
he's
old
like,
days.
yo, yeah, he used to work at the old slaughterhouse, and they started automation and all this shit. There's a lot of social commentary going on.
Yeah.
Here, which we can kind of relate to being in Detroit because there's a lot of automation going on to put a lot of people out of business.
Oh, yeah.
Here. So he's like, yeah, once they introduced, my grandpa killed him with a sledgehammer. And once they introduced that new shit, he said, fuck that shit, I ain't working here. And we learned that grandpa's 137 years old.
He's looking good for 137.
So he's having a little trouble walking. So Leatherface and Chop Top bring him in on a rickshaw.
Yep.
And they pull him out. And, of course, since he's the patriarch of the family, he gets the honor of killing Stretch because they're going to eat Stretch.
Yeah.
So they do it the old school way. It's all about old school Grandpa.
Yeah.
So Grandpa's fucking
Tradition,
out of
man.
it. He's got fucking dementia. I don't know. He's got a lot of shit going on.
When I first saw this, I thought he was dead. I really didn't think he was gonna be able to do anything. I thought they were just that out of it.
Because you kill a person. The old days, you killed a person. You put their head over a bucket and you bash their head in with a hammer.
And you make sure you have a ladle to catch that blood.
All right.
Yeah, didn't he have the ladle in one hand and the
Yep.
hammer in the other?
Chop Top was holding the ladle. Oh no!
Okay.
In the beginning, Grandpa had them both, and then Chop
Yeah.
Top grabbed the ladle right when Grandpa was ready to hit.
So sadly, I mean, he's doing pretty good for 137, but he's not that good. So he's missing her constantly.
Dropping the hammer.
Yeah,
Hits her one time, and then they're like, Grandpa, we love you, but cut to the chase. And they just fucking hit her over the head.
yeah. He gets one clean. He had the one connection where it's just like it was a thud, but you can tell.
And
like,
after every try, he's getting more and more excited, and they start
Yeah.
closing up. He's licking his lips like,
yeah, he started to get the blood flowing again.
right.
And then finally,
Finally.
Lefty is on time. Well, he's a little late because she got hit in the head with a hammer after all.
Yeah,
But this is where the cat and mouse games start. He's like hiding up in these tunnels up above, and he starts singing some fucking song,
yep.
and they don't know where it's coming from. And he's trying
to play the mind games, yeah.
He's like, now finally, you guys are the ones that are scared.
Yeah.
And then he finally comes out and leaps down, and all hell breaks loose.
Oh boy. So I mean, I think he does take a moment to be like, "Hey, Stretch, I'm sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, I've been fooling you the whole time." you know?
Yeah, like she pops up. She's like Lefty, and then he's like sister. So maybe something weird's going on with.
He's
Lefty.
he's gone insane.
Yeah,
basically.
he snapped. He's seen some shit.
Yeah, so he frees her, though. And then he's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm taking care of these guys. So him and Leatherface just started a fucking chainsaw duel.
He immediately gets Darson?
Drayton.
Drayton?
Yeah.
He immediately gets Drayton with the chainsaw
right
to
up
the ass.
Yeah, right up in the ass.
Yeah,
Which actually helped him out because he said he had hemorrhoids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sawed him a new one. And then Leatherface comes in. He had his silencer on. He fucking took that off because it's too cumbersome. He needs to be ready for a chainsaw sword fight.
Exactly. So the cook, he like a bitch, he hides underneath the table.
He's murmuring about capital gains tax again.
Right. Chop Top says, I'm going to go get Stretch. So he goes after there. So it's just mano a mano.
Yeah.
Crazy cowboy, crazy cannibal. And they're going back and forth. But finally, Lefty gets the upper hand.
Yeah.
And he goes right through the gut, right into Leatherface.
Mike, do you
Yep.
know how he got the upper hand?
Sorry, I was watching Super Mario Brothers 2 over there.
It's okay. How did he get the upper hand? Fucking Grandpa rolls up with his hammer after he couldn't even fucking swing it with gravity helping him go downward.
tomahawks it like a pro.
Yeah, and so he's aiming for Lefty. He ends up hitting Leatherface, which kind of gets him scrambled and off his game, and then you get a fucking chainsaw right through Leatherface.
And then
Doesn't Grandpa fall out of the chair after he throws?
He put everything he had into it.
Right, and then fucking the cook's under there still bitching about, capital gains tax. And all this shit.
Yeah, he's yelling about all kinds of stuff down there. It's great.
And then I guess he's got depressed because he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill all of us. And he there's just so happens to be, I think it was at the hitchhiker's body.
Yeah, he's like, get over here, nubbins.
And he happens to have a grenade attached to him. So.
He's like, where's the old fuck you, Charlie? And he has another name for it. I forget what, but he's all these nicknames, but not grenade.
Yeah, so he's underneath the table with a grenade. Fucking Lefty pulls out those fucking side shooters of his, those tiny chainsaws, and he's just fucking hacking the shit up with Leatherface. You almost feel bad for Leatherface.
Yeah, it's true.
And then Leatherface drops the saw, it goes through the table and hits the cook, jostles him.
Yep.
He's going to blow him up, and then he's like, oops, I'm not going to blow us up. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But everybody gets blown up with the grenade. Maybe Grandpa survived. I don't know.
The only thing we have to kind of close up here is what's been going on with Stretch and Chop Top.
Yeah, so she's hauling ass, trying to find her way out of this maze of the amusement park.
Very disorienting again. That's just
Meanwhile,
crazy.
Chop Top's got straight razor, he's slashing at her and all this shit.
Yeah.
She stops him momentarily with a lamp. She hits him on his plate and fries his brain for a couple seconds.
That stunned him for like a second, though.
Yeah.
He was right back on her ass a moment later.
Yeah, and then she finds this kind of sarcophagus.
Yeah, it's like an exit, and she goes uphill. Right. And then it's like at the top.
This is the weirdest fucking amusement park. I can see why they went out of business.
Oh, yeah, no. It should have been closed down, condemned till the day it opened, probably.
Right. And she finds Grandma, her corpse.
Yeah.
And she's holding a giant-ass chainsaw.
Because why not?
Right, well, you need one. It saw his family. We learned that.
Right? Yeah, that saw his family.
And they keep it very well maintained. It's, and fucking, I guess Chop Top, he hasn't seen Grandma in a while, so he's kind of like respectful, and she grabs the chainsaw. He's like, "What, you bitch? You about to grab Grandma?" And he's like, "Are you all right, Grandma?" And meanwhile, she's dead, but he's crazy. He just cut his throat with a fucking straight razor.
Right.
And she finally gets the chainsaw started because they were maintaining it, and she fucking slices Chop Top up the gut, kicks his ass down this hill.
Well, before that, she's like trying to get this fucking thing started, and then he's just hacking at her back, and she's doing nothing to stop him. She just keeps trying to rev that, like kick him away, push him away, or something, and then keep trying to rev, but she's just taking it.
She could just hit him in the face with the chainsaw.
As we were talking about before the show, she lacks up her body strength. She can't do it.
Oh, okay.
But she has enough strength that she kills him. He goes flying down this hole, and then take it away, Mike. What happens? This is the very end of the movie.
So he goes flying down this hill, rolls down into the tubing, the whatever it is,
the bizarre,
and she's standing on top of this altar, and she starts giving her "I just beat a bunch of cannibals" scream, and does the most awkward chainsaw dance I have ever seen.
Really?
Yeah,
I found it kind of sexy, but okay.
She's like awkwardly just kind of moving her shoulders and elbows. It's almost kind of like a sailor jig she's got going on. She's just kind of wobbling around. It's no, they should have just had her hold it above her head and scream and give it a couple shakes or something.
Almost everybody in this movie gets to dance with a chainsaw, so it was a thing. It's like the blues and their dance.
We did a lot of that in the 80s.
Yeah,
chainsaw dance.
I believe it. I wanna see the old footage of you and the Zubaz with your chainsaw.
Fuck yeah!
I mean, you probably did that a couple times.
I originally did that's how I actually cut trees too, just like Dennis Hopper does.
Just fucking taking chunks at it.
And you got some hillbilly dude just losing his mind. Like, oh my god, it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. So basically,
coming out.
Maybe we're setting up a new generation. Maybe she's going to be the mom, but no, she's not. Because we learned in part 3, she gets her shit together and becomes a journalist. So, thank God, Stretch is okay. Somebody survived this horror, this massacre.
Ooh. That's ominous.
And so once again, that's the last. If you're interested in these movies, that's the last Texas Chainsaw Massacre you need to see because all the rest are awful.
I mean, The Next Generation isn't terrible.
No.
It's not terrible.
Are you going to talk about the reboots now? Come on.
I don't.
No, I'm not going to talk about the reboots.
Reboots
Dude,
were
you want to
horrible.
talk... Listen, you want me to tell you about the worst one? If you think Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Next Generation was bad, Texas Chainsaw 3D was unbelievably bad.
How can you fuck these up? I mean, it's just some crazy fucking.
They make
hillbillies.
Leatherface like the sympathetic anti-hero
Yeah,
in
I
that
know,
one.
yeah.
What? That
Yeah.
sounds weird.
Yeah, he's like a tormented, like emo kind of dude.
Like-
he's like, oh, my face. Like, didn't he have like his face, like his nose was missing or some shit?
Something like
one
that.
of them is like that.
That's the remake, yeah.
Yeah, and this is bullshit. And you know what
Like
I didn't
Rob
like
Zombie's
about all the
Halloween?
remakes is that they had like, I prefer it's just creepier to me, just a group of fucking crazy brothers living together doing this. When they had like a whole family where it was like mom and little kids and shit, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I like it where it's just because you know when you get a group of guys together, creepy shit happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's why I prefer like the original ones.
Yeah. But
And they
boys
could-
will be boys, so they're safe. It's okay.
Right. So Griff,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
Schlocktober is over.
It's officially, we've closed the Economicon on this one.
Yes, we've closed the door on Golan-Globus Theater. We did it all. We did slasher killers. We
Yeah.
did werewolves. We did kind of vampires.
Kind of
We did
vampires.
kind of demons.
Yeah.
And we did, I think, in my opinion, the scariest fucking villain of all, Crazy Hillbillies.
Yeah, Crazy
Yep.
Hillbillies for sure. No.
So we're going back to foreshadow. I don't know. We're
I
not
don't.
foreshadowing anything. We're going back to Golan-Globus.
Hey man, last 2 weeks we were in Golan-Globus territory, so
Well, but we're going where our bread and butter is.
It's true.
And
You're
so,
going home where the heart is.
Ooh.
So, judging by our numbers, you guys love Schlocktober. Or at least the bots did.
Oh my god, the bots were eating
Bots
this
went
up.
crazy for Golan-Globus. So who knows? Maybe next.
It's-
If we're
it's-
still doing this next
dude,
October, maybe we'll do it again.
It's all that Anton Maiden, man. That's
Yeah,
what's
oh my
getting the
God.
bots'
Anton
attention.
Maiden treasure.
Yeah,
Rest in peace,
We
Anton.
might
Rest in
just do
peace.
an episode about Anton Maiden,
I think we should.
a retrospect behind the music.
Maybe when we'll do one for a rainy day when we can't get together and do a real episode, and we'll just have a 20-minute deep dive into Anton Maiden.
I don't know if that's enough time. That's scratching the surface.
No, 'cause
Oh, okay.
You're going to need at least 10 minutes per 3.5-minute MIDI song.
Yeah.
So, Griff, we're going back to our bread and butter action.
It's been a
And
while.
to reward the few people that are like, God damn it, I come to Golan-Globus for action. I don't give a fuck about horror. We're going to reward you because we're going to go straight into a Golan-Globus classic.
Ooh.
Griff, of course, I'm talking about Death Wish 3.
Finally, we get that AARP wonderful geriatric
Yes.
old fuck that is.
Finally, Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson.
The guy who built, along with Chuck Norris, Golan-Globus Productions. It's a classic. Most people would start with 1. But we're like, fuck that. We're
No.
going straight to the craziest one. The Golan-Globiest one.
Yes.
Part 3. And Griff, also, because we're celebrating Halloween, I did a seance the other day.
Okay.
And I'm so excited to tell you the news. I raised the spirit of Charles Bronson. I spoke with him.
Ooh. Yes.
We were in tight negotiations. I don't tell people about our sponsors, but I'm so excited about this next sponsor. I have to let everyone know so they'll make sure to tune in.
Yeah.
I talked. It was back and forth, but I finally got Charles Bronson to agree to represent the latest sensation from Merman Industries.
Yes.
Bronson brand sex toys and marital aids.
Everybody is good. Everyone's life is going to become that much richer
Yes.
when they finally know that these products are available and endorsed by Charles
We're
Bronson.
going to fix the whole incel thing because people aren't going to need to fuck other people
No.
after this.
No. We've solved it. Good game. Mic drop. We can't drop these mics, but mic drop. I mean, we won. We're going to win.
So, Mike, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. You're always welcome here. Anytime you want.
It's
you
true.
come on.
It's true.
You're always on the mic. We appreciate that.
Yeah. You lean in.
I try.
You do a good job of leaning in there, bud.
So, guys, We'll see you next week. Happy Halloween from Golan-Globus Theater.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mike.
Happy Halloween. Remember, if you are not handing out candy, turn off your damn porch light.
Turn
And
it off.
if you have jack-o'-lanterns lit, don't blow those candles out. Let them burn out. Bad luck.
While we're on the subject of that, if you send your kids out, you better fucking give candy out, you stingy motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
true.
A lot of people in my neighborhood do that, and that's fucked up. It's
That
$5 for a fucking bag of candy, you cheap sons of bitches.
It is messed up. I will do all my trick-or-treating tomorrow at Meijer, or Thursday at Meijer, when I buy all the 95% off candy.
Right.
And it lasts me like a year because I don't eat candy very often.
Very economical.
Yes.
All right, so that's it for now. See you next week, and keep it warm.
Mer.